Previously, we looked at American Airlines long-haul international service and their transborder flights. So this evening, it's time to experience American on one of their cross-country domestic routes. I just landed in Charlotte, so it's time to grab a bite to eat and reset for our 5-hour jump to LAX.
Good afternoon and welcome back to another video. Well, I'm deep in greener grass territory. I just landed in Charlotte, North Carolina for my flight from Toronto. Now on the channel we've experienced American's transborder service and an international flight, but I've never flown American on a cross-country domestic flight until today. At 6:40 we are off to LAX. So come along as we go from A to B. We have about 3 hours before the flight, so let's start by poking around the airport and maybe grabbing some dinner, and we'll see what happens.
Well, this was my first time transferring through Charlotte, and as far as airports go in terms of connections, it's pretty good. The airport is easy to navigate about, and everything is much closer than compared to Chicago, Dallas, and other larger hubs. The wide atrium with its large windows in the center of the terminal is my favorite aspect of the airport. And I thought this decoration under the clock was a nice touch. Do you have a preferred airport to transfer through in America? Or is there one you try to avoid? If so, leave a comment. Restaurants, shops, and outlets are spaced out pretty evenly throughout the airport, so one need not search far to grab a bite to eat. My day was already well underway as I flew down from Toronto as I'm making my way back to Tokyo. By the time I arrived in Charlotte, it was already about supper time, and knowing what we know from our previous American flights, I figured it was in my best interest to grab something before my next one. Since we were in North Carolina, I figured some Carolina BBBQ was in order. And this pulled pork sandwich set did the trick. Fully content, I headed to the gate. This evening we are departing from gate C12, and here's our A321, the same aircraft we flew on a few days earlier. Today we'll be in seat 24F, and unbeknownst to me, it was a non-window seat. So buddy behind me is going to be sharing his window with us. Turning towards the scouting report, we see that American Airlines has 218 A321-200 aircraft in their fleet, the second most common aircraft behind their 737. Our airplane first flew with US Airways until they merged with American in late 2015. The aircraft is configured with 190 seats, with the first 20 in business class and 170 in economy. There are 4 lavatories on board, with one in the middle of the economy cabin. Unfortunately, Buddy was on his phone and the glare from his screen rendered the takeoff footage unusable. It'll take about 5 hours to reach LAX on this evening flight. The economy cabin is laid out in the standard 3-3 seating configuration. Main cabin extra are rows 8 through 12 and 24, providing extra legroom and dedicated overhead bins. The cabin doesn't have any LED lighting, so the options are either full lighting, half, or completely off, which was the case for the majority of this evening flight. The seats were the same as the other flights we experienced. It seems American has a very consistent seat design throughout their fleet, more so than other airlines where a variation may be more evident. Seatbacks are basic, housing a literature pocket and device mount on top. Below is the table, and once again these ones are locked due to being the emergency row, and a pocket can be found underneath. In the emergency row, the table folds out from the armrest, and a nifty device mount can be found here. First time I've seen this in an armrest table. The power outlet can be found under the seat, and unlike in our last flight where the outlets are under their respective seat, the power outlet for the middle seat is actually under the window seat, which can be a bit awkward, I imagine. And above you have access to the reading light and air control. As much as you have unlimited leg space in the emergency row, there is no such thing as a free lunch, and in this case, you'll have the constant opening of the lavatory door to distract you. On a dark flight like this, I found the bright light bothersome. If you are interested in main cabin extra, I would recommend a seat in rows 8 through 12. American offers live TV on their domestic flights, where they offer channels such as, you guessed it, CNN.
CNN? Whoa.
And unlike in a transborder flight, you need not worry about it cutting out. I took the opportunity to enjoy my last bit of American TV for the next 6 months. American also provides a solid in-flight streaming service with a healthy library of titles. There's also in-flight Wi-Fi as well, with plans starting at $20. The 20 minutes of free Wi-Fi is a nice option to have, but can only be used once throughout the flight. T-Mobile customers can take advantage of the option available to them, something I didn't see on my transborder or international flight. I also recommend to have the AA app downloaded, as it can be used to track your bags, check on connecting flights, and so forth, and can be used without connecting to a Wi-Fi plan. And as always, I take this moment to welcome new viewers to subscribe for continued aviation and travel-related content. This is my last video from North America for the next little bit, and I'm excited to bring you some videos from a wonderful corner of the globe shortly. On a 5-hour cross-country flight such as this, you can expect 2 drink services. American has a very limited buy-on-board menu, much smaller than what we see north of the border, consisting of 4 cold options, but one is classified as a breakfast. I think the in-flight catering is one aspect of where American service can be improved. Anyway, I enjoyed the Goose Island IPA on my international flight a few weeks back, so I decided to go with it once more this evening. Complementary libations is another added bonus of main cabin extra. So cheers once again to being back in the skies. Here's a peek inside the lavatory nearest to me, and unfortunately, it was quite unkept and not very tidy. I didn't see any of the CAs check in on it during the flight, so things kinda got a bit out of hand. The toilet paper now creeping into the cabin aisle doesn't look too good, does it? Overall, this was an okay evening flight. Knowing what I know now, I would avoid row 24 due to the lavatory and lack of a window. I would still consider main cabin extra, just would choose a different row. The 2 drink service were nice, but I think American can expand on their in-flight menu, especially on these longer flights. The cabin crew on this flight were very kind and nice when I interacted with them, though they stayed on the back of the plane during the flight, except for the 2 drink services. This was the 4th of 5 flights on a round-trip ticket from Tokyo to Toronto. The price came out to $1,368, which includes the $230 upgrade to main cabin extra. Thanks for watching. Let me know about your experience with American Airlines, and I'll catch you in the next video.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's our pleasure to welcome you to Los Angeles. The current time is 8:20 p.m. Just as a reminder to please remain seated with your seatbelt securely fastened until you've been parked at the gate and the captain has turned off the fasten seatbelt sign.